Hello, welcome to Bloodhaus, the show where we talk about art house horror movies. I'm your host, Joshua Conkel.
And I'm your enigmatic skateboarding vampire co-host, Drusilla Adeline. That, of all the little intros I've done, that's maybe the most accurate.
I don't know, it's pretty fun to deranged little Gidget from last
Yeah,
week.
that was all you though. You texted me that midway through watching that movie. Anyway, welcome back to Bloodhaus.
Huzzah, here we are. How are you?
I'm very, very fucking tired.
Yeah.
I am been so booked and busy with art projects all this past week and a half. It's been every day.
Yeah.
I was literally out yesterday was my one day off. And I was out to shopping through Magnolia Park and stuff like that, and then my girlfriend and I went to lunch at Don Cuco's, which is a nice little Mexican restaurant in Burbank that's just very kind of cozy. And we were sitting outside. It was nice and warm, and the sun was on us. And I just broke down. I nearly fell asleep at the table, narcoleptic, and then started had a minor little breakdown just from how fucking overworked I've been.
Yeah.
And then was like, no, okay, I'm good. Just I need an enchilada. That was all it was. But I've been so fucking tired. And this morning is no different. But we're getting there. We're getting through.
Yeah.
We're getting through it.
I feel like we're both sort of creatures of the night, and yet we've chosen to record this show every week on Sunday morning like it's church. So it's sort of an odd choice for us, but
it's very
also
pious
nice.
and gives it a sense of importance and doesn't allow us to skimp on it. And it's probably better for our partners to have us doing this in the morning rather than rambling into the night.
It's a nice, I don't know. It's a nice thing to do every week. It feels like a secular version of church or something. You know
it feels
I mean?
like setting intentions, sort of.
Yeah, it's
I
good to have
this.
rituals.
I want an important thing. Yeah. I have learned the hard way not to light candles while doing this. What about you, Josh? How are you doing? I assume you're as busy as I am at the moment.
I am. I just turned in my episode for Dead Boy Detective, so things are going to lighten up a little bit, but I'm moving in a week, so I'm just really full on with packing, and I've been going to the apartment, which is not close. It's about a half-hour drive away, and I've been going there sometimes twice a day, and yesterday I was there and I smelled a gas leak, and so I texted the new landlord, and he was like, I'll check it out on Monday, which is 2 days away from yesterday. And I was like, I don't think that's the sort of thing that you can wait on. So I had to sit there and call the city, and there was a gas leak. I wasn't imagining it. And
oh my God.
So it's just it's really full on right now, but everything's good. I'm happy. I haven't moved. I've lived in this apartment for 8 years, the whole time I've lived in LA. So I have a lot of stuff, but I really love moving because I love interior design, and I love thinking about furniture and layout and stuff like that, so, and the landlord did say I could paint, which I probably won't do right away, but eventually I will.
You should. If you have that opportunity, you should.
Yeah. I'm excited about it.
It's a bigger place too, right?
Twice the square footage.
Oh my God.
It's 100 years old, which is my number one requirement for an apartment. It has to be at least 100 years old. All hardwood floors, all original detail in the tiled bathroom. Very, very charming.
It's so beautiful, and it's such a great side of town. Which is redacted for listeners so they can't stalk and murder you.
I will say, it is a very beautiful part of LA. It's called Miracle Mile, and it's all architecture from the 1920s that kind of came up at once in the 1920s. So it all is Art Deco and really beautiful. And it's a weird neighborhood because there's not a lot over there other than all the museums, which is sort of strange, but it's really pretty.
Yeah. And you're such a sucker for that movie. You had to move to Miracle Mile.
I love Miracle Mile so much. I'm going to be looking all around for Anthony Edwards and Mare Cunningham because they live there, right? Because they filmed a movie there in the 80s, so they must be there still.
They are actually a couple in real life, so...
I love that.
Do you know how they got together?
It was many years after that,
It was many years after. It was quite literally, Kino put out a Blu-ray or was preparing to put out a Blu-ray of Miracle Mile because it hadn't been released in
Mm-hmm.
years and it had been kind of forgotten. And they organized a cast reunion to like interview everyone for the disc, and they hadn't seen each other since around the time they shot it. And at the cast reunion, they like got on really well, found out they both kind of had feelings for each other at the time when they made it, but they were both in relationships, they were both divorced now, and now I think they just got married. Like,
Yeah, they are married.
they're married now. It's
I
so
love
fucking
that.
adorable.
That movie is actually quite romantic in a way
Mm-hmm.
that's like very sweet and strange. And listener, if you haven't seen Miracle Mile, I mean, you're going to love it if you listen to the show. Don't read anything about it. It's
Yep.
completely wild and bananas, and you will not expect the places that it goes to. But God, what a good movie. Banger.
It's an incredible movie.
Yeah.
Highly, highly recommend. I feel like when I moved to LA, I watched a lot of LA movies I hadn't seen before for the first time. I watched
Mm-hmm.
that. I watched They Shoot Horses, Don't They? And I
Oh,
watched
yeah.
Day of the Locust and stuff like that. And all of those
Those are
are
so dark.
such downer movies. And I was like depressed and broke living in Koreatown in a disgusting studio. So
Yeah.
I love LA. LA is beautiful. What a magical
I
city
love
to live
LA
in.
too. I love LA too. Do you know what actually really helped me adjust to LA was the FX show You're the Worst?
Oh my god.
Because it's set in Silver Lake in Echo Park, where I have been living all these years. They went to my same diner, which is now gone, but it was called Bright Spot on Sunset Boulevard.
Mm-hmm.
They went there every episode, and they're all just horrible. And so it helped me feel like, okay, not everyone in LA is like goopy, you know?
You can relate. You finally saw
Yeah.
yourself. Yeah.
Yeah.
Oh
How
my
are you? Have you
god.
been watching anything cool?
I have been too busy to be watching a lot of stuff. However, part of taking care of myself while I'm this busy is carving out time, even if I don't have 2 hours to watch something good and interesting. I do carve out smaller pockets of my time to like unwind and relax. And I've been forcing myself to read again.
Ooh, love that.
And I picked up something off my shelf that's been sitting there for a while that I haven't read, and I just needed something quick to like pull my mind away. And I read it in like almost in a single sitting. I loved it so much. So Ed Brubaker and Sean Phillips have a comic book series, a graphic novel series called Reckless right
Uh-huh.
now. They had like multiple incredible comic series over the past couple of years, like Criminal and Killer Be Killed and Fatale. And Sean Phillips does a lot of covers for the Criterion Collection. He
Okay.
did Sweet Smell of Success and Night of the Living Dead and The Great Escape and Mildred
Uh-huh.
Pierce, and he's fucking incredible. Um, and Reckless is like a pulp noir series that they've started a couple years ago. I think they're on like 4 or 5 books by now. Um, about a like washed up 60s radical and former undercover agent who by the 1980s is living in Santa Monica and taking on occasional PI work with well living in an abandoned movie theater with the assistance of a like young blue-haired kind of like punk lesbian.
Mm.
um they're fucking incredible. These are so fun. The main character is kind of drawn and feels a lot like Robert Redford if he had like had this like tough guy noir like saga in the 80s. It's got a very like Dashiell Hammett touch, but a very like Big Lebowski, Long Goodbye like aesthetic and style. It's super fun. And the one that I read this week is Friend of the Devil, which is the second one, um, and is about him falling in love with a woman only to find out that she has a sister that went missing in the late 70s, and they see her pop up as an extra in the background of an obscure cult movie about
Ooh.
like devil worshippers.
Ooh.
And so he has to like track down this missing woman and how she connects to an actual cult of devil worshippers. Um
That sounds so good.
It's so good. It is so steeped in like Roger Corman B movies and exploitation movies and
Yeah.
just a love for California in like the 70s and 80s. It's so fucking fun and such a breeze and so beautifully paced and drawn and colored. Sean Phillips' son Jacob Phillips is the colorist on them, and it's like so fucking beautiful. I love these so much. I have
Are
another
they
one.
are they all connected or are they like separate
They're
cases?
separate cases, and then there's the loose thread of following
Okay.
Ethan Reckless and his assistant. So you can just pick them up need be. I'm really excited to read. Later today, I'm gonna start uh, the fourth book, The Ghost in You, which doesn't even follow Ethan Reckless at all. It is all about his purple-haired assistant Anna.
Mm.
And is kind of a like sapphic old Hollywood ghost story to a degree. I'm
That
really, really
sounds
excited to
so
get
good.
these. Yeah, they're compared to Rockford Files and
What
but like with
what
more hard R fucked up shit in them.
what's the series called? Or does it have
Reckless.
Reckless? That sounds
Reckless.
so good.
Highly recommend. They are out from Image Comics. And
Mm.
they're nice, like really nice hardback editions too.
Yeah, they look
Um,
like old listener, they kind of look like old film posters, the covers, from
yeah,
what I can
the
tell.
Sean Phillips artwork is so fucking gorgeous. I highly, highly recommend them. They're also like super affordable. They're really cheap. So I highly recommend just going out and picking up a couple of them because you're gonna do at least one in a sitting.
Do you know what? Since we're talking about reading, what I just finished for the first time, weirdly, is Rebecca by Daphne du Maurier.
That's one of my favorite books of all time.
Fuck, it's so good. I did that cringy, like I did this cringy thing on Instagram. It was like, hey, post this and someone will send you books. And it was a chain letter basically. And I was embarrassed to
Mm-hmm.
do it. Except that I got 10 books. It
Oh
really
my
worked.
god.
And Rebecca was one of them. And I just finished it, and I just like it's such a page turner. I mean,
Yeah.
it's very very beautifully written and evocative. Kind of reminded me of Haunting of Hill House a little bit, just in terms of the
Mm-hmm.
writing. It's like very ethereal, very it's giving Sophia Coppola. But it's like it's very beautiful and soft and like you know Vaseline covered lens if it were a movie, but it's just so stressful and
Yeah.
so beautiful.
It was like a massive bestseller when it came out in like the 30s.
Yeah,
It was a
incredible.
huge fucking phenomenon. Daphne du Maurier is fucking incredible.
I mean, yes, Don't Look Now I've read, and of course it's so beautiful too, and
Mm-hmm.
it has the same energy, but I was just surprised at what a page turner is. And once again, something I've been thinking about like this past year or so is like the most stressful thing to me in the world in terms of a story is when you know that the characters are lying and
Yep.
everyone around them is starting to figure it out and like the
Yep.
world is kind of closing in. So once that starts to happen, which is like the whole back half of the book, to me, it becomes so stressful.
I remember so vividly um my when I was in like high school, my stepfather like just had some books in the basement that like were either his or his mother's in the 80s when he was growing up, and they were
Hmm.
all like Dune, the Children of Dune, and like sci-fi stuff like that, and I was like
Yeah,
whatever. And then the last one was Rebecca, and I was like, oh, huh. And I like read it like in a week and fucking loved it. And
it's
then
so good.
immediately sought out the Hitchcock movie and loved it. It's
Of
my favorite
course.
Hitchcock movie. I love how fucked up it is. I
It's
love how
really fucked
even
up.
like the quote unquote like heroes are like justifying some really fucked shit. Like the
Yeah.
entire romance blooms
Yeah, like
in the
the
worst way.
it's a stilted marriage until you find out that until the wife finds out that the husband is a murderer, and then it's like everything's good now, and it's like he killed his last wife. Granted, like she does seem like a real c word, but
Nah, but C word in the cool way. Rebecca rips. She's the best. Justice for
she
Rebecca
seems
and
like
Miss Danvers.
yeah, justice for Miss Danvers, who I love deeply. Who's
Hmm.
so hateful and awful, but I really felt for her.
Yeah, it's very easy to paint her as a kind of like puritanical, like religious buttoned up character, sort of like that one lady on Midnight Mass who's like the
Right.
fucking worst. It's
Yeah.
easy to like kind of like draw her in that way, but she's not. Mrs. Danvers is like a really like lovelorn, repressed freak, and she's
Yeah.
so so sweet and deserves
Has
the
everyone
world.
has anyone, I'm sure this exists, has anyone ever written a version of Rebecca from Miss Danvers' point of view?
I don't think so.
Like, like sort of Wicked turns around Wizard of Oz or something. That would
Yeah.
be really good.
That would be really good. And then you could just change the character's name and call it something else and make $1 million.
Mrs. Denver.
John Denver's mother, Mrs. Denver, and
Thank
her love affair with a beautiful woman who was murdered.
Yeah. Thank you for tuning into Book Talk.
Bookhouse.
Bookhouse. Yeah, let's do it.
Oh my god.
Have you watched any cool movies, or are you just talking about books?
I honestly, this week I only have a cool comic book to mention because
That's great.
the only movie I watched this week was, other than what we watched for the show, was bad. So
Great. Let's move on. We've been talking for 15 minutes or so. It's good to move on to the main feature.
Well, speaking of comic books, a movie that
Yes.
got a comic book adaptation.
It sure did. So we are discussing today from 2014, written and directed by Anna Lily Amapour, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night.
نصف شبی کجا بودی؟ دختر
در تاریکی کن دقت
منو نمیدونی
چیزی که میبینی
از چی هستی؟
I could not love this movie more. I unfortunately did not see it in a movie theater when it came out. I rented it shortly after, but I've watched it probably once a year ever since. I think it's just such a perfect movie, basically. It's incredibly beautiful. It's moving. It's scary. It's just an absolute, as far as I'm concerned, masterpiece. What are your sort of headlines about this movie?
I disagree.
Oh, okay. Ooh, wow.
I disagree. This movie's fun and interesting and neat, but I feel like it really misses the mark in a lot of places.
Oh, I didn't expect this. Okay.
Yeah. Sorry.
That's okay.
I hadn't seen I saw this movie probably in 2015. Back in when I was living in Indiana, a little bit before I left Indiana. I think it was one of the last movies I saw when I was there. With a friend and down in Greenwood, Indiana. I went down to go hang out with them, and they were like, "Have you seen this yet?" And I was like, "No, I really want to." And they were like, "Oh my god, it's so good. We have to watch together." And I watched it, and I very quickly forgot everything about it. And then when you brought it up for the podcast, I was like, "Yeah, I really need to rewatch that. I remember nothing about it." And while I was watching it again for this, I was like, "Oh, that's why." Because it's
so
very
weird.
Jim Jarmusch derogatory. Jim Jarmusch post Broken Flowers, not early Jim Jarmusch.
I'm so rattled right now because I just assumed that you loved this movie as much as I did.
It seems like when on paper, this movie is right up my alley, and literally while I was rewatching it, I was like, "Oh, that's where I know Death by White Lies from."
God, I love that song.
I love that song. I came across it a couple years ago again and was got really into it again and got really into that album. And I was like, I know this from somewhere. Where do I know this from? And then rewatching this movie, I was like, oh, I forgot this movie so much
See, I had the opposite experience. This movie stayed in my brain. I remembered like so many moments so clearly. So I just had such a different experience of this. I guess in terms of synopsis, this movie is set in the Iranian ghost town, basically called Bad City. And it follows a number of loosely connected characters, but mostly to start, it follows a young man whose name is Arash. And he's like a very handsome man in his early 20s. He lives alone with his father, who's a heroin addict. So he's kind of like working himself to the bones, trying to take care of his junkie dad. They're indebted to a really cruel pimp and drug dealer whose name is Saeed. Through Saeed, we also meet, I think her name is Addie, who's like a sort of aging sex worker. There's also a little boy. And then all of these people are sort of being stalked, watched, observed by a young woman who is a vampire, who's just simply called the Girl. And she wears a shabad and, a chador, and rides a skateboard and is like just kind of like a lonely, maybe teenage or early 20s vampire who's kind of got a penchant for terrible men. And that's the movie. Slowly, she and Rosh get closer and sort of form a friendship or romance of some sort, and that's kind of the movie. Anything else?
Yeah, I mean, more or less. There's also the wealthy family that Arash works for, and that woman, but that kind of doesn't go any further than getting him to a party midway through the movie.
It's also important to mention that this movie is filmed in black and white, and it is set in Iran, but was filmed in California and is completely in Persian with subtitles. So they're kind of like rural California standing in for Iran, which it looks incredible. I mean, I've never been to Iran, but it feels like Iran to me. I buy it.
Literally, I watched so many Iranian new wave movies like Abbas Kiarostami and stuff like that when I was in high school and college, that when I first came out to LA, I was like, LA looks a lot like Iran. Has anyone ever said that?
I mean, there's a lot of Persians here. I guess it makes sense.
I mean, just like the like wide hills, the like oil derricks, it looks a lot like Iran. And Iran's fucking beautiful.
Yeah. When I saw this, I was like, how on earth did they make this in Iran? You know, just like politically. And then I was like, oh, it's filmed in California.
Yeah. It's a good stand-in. With Elijah Wood money, you're probably going to be filming in California.
Yeah. This movie premiered at Sundance in the, like, what they call the Next, quote unquote, program. It got really great reviews. It has like 96% on Rotten Tomatoes. She has gone on to make at least one more movie, right? I never saw it. Okay, yeah. I haven't seen anything else by her. But
her follow-up movie, The Bad Batch, was with Jason Momoa, Suki Waterhouse, Keanu Reeves, and Jim Carrey. And
I remember the trailer very well.
No one saw it.
Yeah, I remember the trailer, and I am among the people that did not see it.
Yeah. And then just last year, she put out Mona Lisa of the Blood Moon.
Right.
With Craig Robinson and what's her name? Kate Hudson. And I don't know anyone who's seen that either. She also did a feature-length segment of Guillermo del Toro's Cabinet of Curiosities. With Kate Micucci and Martin Starr. Yeah, so it's a very... I'm kind of shocked looking at this movie 10 years on, with how much buzz this movie was like the big like indie giant the year it came out. There was so much fucking buzz around it. She was heralded as like the next important independent filmmaker, the next giant female filmmaker. And it was like, this was also like a little after Drive and like Nicholas Winding Refn also being a very like hip, cool filmmaker making like weird, interesting stuff. And like, they're both very like David Lynch and Alex Cox influenced. And like, they both were like poised to like really take over the industry, and then like a couple years later they like the Bad Batch came out, no one saw it, she didn't work again for years.
I would say based on this, I would have thought the same thing. And I will dare to say that I think that you're in the minority on this one. I think that this movie holds up very well. It's very highly esteemed. People still talk about it. When I post about watching on Instagram, people are like all in my DMs about how much they loved it. So
I know I'm going to catch fists for this one. I'm well aware.
I think it's just such a beautiful movie, and I think it's so special and singular, and the aesthetic of it is so... I mean, here's the thing. Let's start here. Contemporary black and white movies, why aren't they everywhere? Because I mean, I know why because there's like immediately like there's a certain percentage of people who won't watch a black and white movie. So I understand from a business perspective why they aren't more common. But as a filmmaker, it's such an easy way to like have a very tight, thoughtful aesthetic. Like this, The Lighthouse. I can name a couple more, but it's like it just is such a good shortcut to having like a really cool aesthetic for your film. And I just wish that there were more black and white movies.
I really, really like that this movie is in black and white. 80% or 70% of the cinematography is fucking gorgeous. The other 20 or 30% of it is like really rough, dated digital photography with a black and white filter over it, to the point that I'm like, God, like I get it. It's very like low budget. Some of it looks fucking incredible, but then other sequences of just characters hanging out and talking looks like it was shot on an iPhone and then just put in black and white, and it stresses me out.
Wow, I just love the cinematography in this.
I love most of the cinematography. When the father asks Addie to dance for him the last time that they're together, there's a nice little like slow-mo sequence on that. That's so beautifully shot. Everything with that like Ford Thunderbird is beautifully shot. But a lot of the dialogue scenes with the characters, it looks really flat and really like uninteresting to me.
It feel more different. And the reason
it feels very digital to me.
Yeah, well, it is digital. Yeah. But I think the reason that I remember this so well was in part because of the cinematography, like those beautiful shots of her walking in her chador against like the long brick walls, the skateboard stuff. And then there's like some really great scenes. Like there's a scene with the little boy when she comes upon him at night in an alleyway and she starts interviewing him. She's like, "Are you a good boy or a bad boy?" And she gets him to say that he's a good boy. And she basically is like, "Good, because I'm going to be watching you for the rest of your life. And if you turn out to be a bad man, I'm going to get you." So it feels like a sort of pop feminist way, which can sometimes annoy me, but it doesn't here. Maybe because it's Iran, or I don't know why, but like the politics feel thoughtful to me in a way that they might not in a different filmmaker or writer's hands. Yeah, I just love this movie.
I don't know. I think one of the other things that it's the style and the writing of it is really played down and detached, which again, very like Jim Jarmusch, Aki Kaurismäki, filmmakers that do this stuff a lot, and like
that's
a lot
often
of the time,
not your favorite thing, right? Like
sometimes it's not my favorite thing, but when it's done well, I fucking love it. Like early Jim Jarmusch, Down by Law, Mystery Train, almost everything by Aki Kaurismäki. I've never seen a bad movie from him. I think the difference is that between those movies and this, that I kind of like clicked into on this rewatch, is that the best of those Jim Jarmusch movies that are that like slow and detached, and of the Westerns, which we'll get into that connection in a minute, that are slow and detached like that, and you like the ones that work the best have a sense of humor through their deadpan open framing. That helps you like in and kind of relate to the characters. Whereas the weaker Jim Jarmusch movies of late, like Limits of Control or The Dead Don't Die, are just like entirely too serious. And The Dead Don't Die, which is trying to be a comedy and is just not funny at all. I feel like this movie just doesn't give, there's no air to breathe, and it just feels really constructed. And it doesn't feel like it's ever going anywhere. It just feels like it ends at a certain point.
It is a bit meandering, but I kind of like that too. I mean, I don't know. I like the vibe. Well, let's talk about the feminist angle for a second, which is that, so the title, A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night, you hear that title and you think like, oh, that girl is in danger, right? So I guess the thing that this movie does immediately is it takes that and flips it on its head, because the girl here is not perpetrated upon. She is the perpetrator, and it's sort of like Ms. 45 or something like that. She's kind of like hunting men a little bit.
The original short film that this is a remake of is an entirely dialogue-free film about a girl with the same look being followed, and then she turns out to be the perpetrator, which is also the first 5 minutes of the first episode of Buffy.
Yes. Not a particularly new idea, I guess.
But that's great, and it's a very good short. I think one of my, I don't know, other quibbles is that she's not the lead of this movie.
No, she isn't really. It really
not
is,
even a little bit. It's
Arash.
Arash's movie.
Yeah.
And that's fine, but she's the more interesting character. And we learn all of nothing about her.
Yeah.
And she does very little other than walk around and occasionally prey on people. And sometimes she kills people immediately. Sometimes she stalks them for a little bit longer and kills them. Other times it seems like she's psychically connected to people and hears when something is going on and then takes people out. It's not really explained, which is fine. But I don't know. She seems like she's got an obsession with Western culture and music of the 80s, and you kind of get
like
the
Madonna
idea.
posters in her room and stuff.
Yeah,
like that.
and Thriller and the Bee Gees, and she seems like she's got a really like eclectic, cool girl taste, and she has like the black and white striped shirt underneath that, and she's skateboarding around, which again, like,
she looks rad.
She really looks rad, and she seems really cool, and I wish we could hang out with her more in the movie.
Yeah.
Which is about her ostensibly. I don't know. I don't think the movie ever I don't think the movie ever presents her as ever being in danger, because the first time we see her is as a threat to our pimp.
Yeah, Saeed.
Saeed, yeah.
And she kills him, in fact. That's a great scene, I think.
That's a great scene.
He asks her to come home with him, and she does. And he's like listening to terrible dance music and doing
coke and like, working
lifting
out.
weights. It's really funny. She bites his finger off and steals from him. I liked that scene a lot. I felt like a little bit stressed out by that scene in a way that made me feel like it was effective. I also really love the scene when the girl is alone with Ati, the sex worker.
I love that scene.
It's really beautiful. They have like sort of a heart-to-heart about how sad Ati is, and then the girl gives her a bunch of jewels that she stole, and it just took a really tender, thoughtful, sweet scene.
I love that scene. I love their connection. I think we get too few of the two of them together in this movie. I think they're phenomenal together. And my other big hot take is like, they have better chemistry than she has with Arash. She looks so disinterested in all of her scenes with Arash. I don't see any romance between the two of them this entire movie.
Well, that's why I was like, is it more of a friendship kind of thing? Because I don't know, he gives her diamond earrings that he steals from the rich girl that he works for, and that feels romantic. But they never kiss.
They never kiss. They never hug. They never have any kind of romantic contact.
Feels a bit more like the relationship in Let the Right One In, which is between two children. But yeah, there's something that feels not sexual about it. I think you're right about that.
I was thinking about Let the Right One In a lot during this movie. Again, because I think it's like pitched as a a movie about a female vampire that's from the perspective of a non-vampire dude,
Mm-hmm.
which is just kind of uninteresting to me, to a large degree. That's a better movie than this, I think. And I know I had my
don't
issues
know.
with that movie,
Right.
but that's a wholly different kind of thing. But I don't know. I feel like that movie had a lot more ideas in it than this one does. I
Mm-hmm.
think there's a few like good feminist ideas in this movie. And outside of that, it's a lot of genre tropes and looking cool. It's a lot
I'm
of
okay
like
with that.
fetishizing the music and fetishizing the car, and you know, it's cool that she rides a skateboard. It's cool that she listens to White Lies. Like,
Yeah. To me, Let the Right One In and this, I just love them both so much, and they do feel related. They are sort of similar movies in a weird way, although also kind of opposites, because one's in the snow and one's in the desert. So they kind of, they're like a yin and yang in a really great way. And I love both of them dearly. What did you think of the White Lies scene? That's like, I am obsessed with it. I'll just say, like, there's a whole scene where Arash goes to her apartment or room or whatever, and she puts on that record, and they let the whole song play.
Very nearly the whole song, yeah. Well, he's like high on MDMA.
Yeah, and she's like maybe gonna bite him. She's getting close to him while this song plays. I love it so much.
That is one of my favorite scenes in the movie.
To just time all of that scene out, to like play a scene and time it so it goes to the song, is just like so good.
It's such a good song. It's a really, really, really good needle drop. It's a really infectious song too, and the like song thematically being about combining romance with a fear of death is very fitting for like being in the bedroom of a female vampire. But it's such a high energy song for such a like flat static scene. It's jarring to me a little bit to be using that one like that, which is nice and fun. It just doesn't feel cinematic.
I just
to me
not disagree more. I love it so much.
I know, like, everything on paper, I should love this movie in so many ways.
Well, here's the thing is I like the pace of this, because I do quite like a slow paced movie, because they're so rare. Like, movies are very rarely given the opportunity to like really take their time, which is why I like so many of the movies of this era, is because before and after, they're just like, they're so relentless. And you see it on Twitter too, people like the debate about sex scenes, for instance, which is so insane. What the point that people make when they don't like sex scenes is that they don't move the plot forward. And my point is, like, sex scenes are rad, first of all, so are boobs and so are dicks. And we should have more of them everywhere, whether they move a story forward or not. But beyond that, it's a false idea that like everything has to serve plot.
Oh,
like,
wildly agree. I want movies to take their time because I want character.
Yeah.
And I feel like this movie doesn't give character.
I can understand your point. I don't agree with it, but I do understand it. And I guess my only point was that I like slow movies because I like movies that just like allow you to sit in it and breathe, and you know what I mean? Like, so I just like that this movie lets me stew.
Yeah. I feel like there's a version of this movie that would be exactly like that. It would be wonderful for me. I feel like the screenplay of this movie and the direction of this movie, despite the fact that they're from the same person, are discordant. I feel like the way this movie is written, like, steeped in genre tropes and like she's only known as the girl, and like again we'll get into it, but like it's pitched as a vampire western. There's a lot of western tropes, and like all the characters are billed as less their name but more like the pimp, the sex worker, the father is billed as the junkie. Like,
yeah,
everyone's built as an archetype, and it's like and so much of it is like around the aesthetic coolness of the music and the costuming and the cars and stuff like that, that I don't feel like it has the substance to be taking its time.
You feel like it's a bit shallow.
I feel like it's a bit shallow, and it needs, if it's going to be shallow, that's fine. Then you have to lean into more like cinematic tricks and dare I say plotting, or doesn't have to be plotting, but just like something else to move the like pulp narrative further and aesthetics further. If you want to eschew all that stuff and have like a stripped down, like really open, wide, breathy story that allows you to sit with these characters and spend time with them, then you need to have well-written characters. You need to have more depth. I just feel like it aims for two different things and misses the mark on both.
Interesting.
Yeah.
What did you make of the Chador? Because it's interesting that, you know, she's wearing one for a lot of the movie, but none of the other women in the movie are wearing veils of any sort. And I don't know that much about Islam, so I'm curious about what she would say about that.
I watched an interview with Anna Lily Amirpour, and she was saying that she was on the set of a different movie and picked one up and put one on and looked at herself in the mirror and had been thinking about making a female vampire movie and was like, oh, that's it. That's the perfect disguise for a female vampire, because no one would suspect her. I mean, Addie asks her if she's religious, and she quickly is like, no.
Yeah.
So it hides herself from the world, and it's also kind of armor in a way that allows her to kind of skate by, literally and figuratively. And be not perceived as a threat. And like, especially in this town where like the only people we know are drug dealers and sex workers, to like have a girl that looks that like buttoned down and religious is a good way of, you know, pulling the wool over people's eyes. And that's a really interesting concept, and I would like to see more of that explored in this movie, other than she rides a skateboard and then bites a homeless man.
Yeah, I wonder, there's a little bit of me that thinks that there's like a side to this movie, in her work in this movie, is like provocative for provocative's sake. For example, the use of the Chador, but also the character whose name is Rockabilly, who doesn't have any dialogue. It's a gender non-conforming person. I don't know their gender exactly. But they're in a, you know, certainly effeminate, wearing sort of cowgirl outfits, and they're silent. They're like a silent witness to the events of the movie, and are never given dialogue. But the director did say that that was like probably the most politically daring part of the film, in terms of Iran, which I'm sure is true, because it's such a homophobic country, and transphobic. So yeah, what did you think of Rockabilly?
I didn't see a lot of purpose for that character other than signaling to the audience that this is a like out there town where like we got drug dealers and addicts and sex workers and queers. It's like, okay, cool. The last time we see Rockabilly is in a like slow-mo dance scene with a balloon. After that White Lies scene, with the first time that Arash is with the girl in her room, which feels like an effort to be symbolic towards a growing relationship between Arash and the girl, as if this is supposed to capture the feeling of early love or potentially an off-screen sex scene or something like that. And it feels kind of like the like, ooh, it feels like I have a striking image. I want to use a striking image. It doesn't have a lot of meaning, but it's a striking image, you know?
Right. To me, if I'm being uncharitable, which I am for the purpose of this exercise, it sometimes felt like rockabilly as being used as a prop to be provocative instead of as a character. But I also like their presence in the movie. I think they look beautiful. I think, you know, so I'm kind of like on the fence about it. But
again, they're an intriguing character that I want to know more about, that I'm interested by the fact that they're here, period, which is exciting and interesting to me. And then the movie does nothing with them other than have them just be there.
Right.
To a large degree, which is a bummer for me.
Do you know what's a really interesting thing to do is, so one of my childhood best friends was from Iran in Seattle. And I kind of grew up with her not knowing that this had happened. There was this revolution in Iran, right? Like, so at some point when we were in our early 20s, I sent her, I don't know what made me do this, but I was like, I kind of learned about the revolution of 77, because what happened to her was that her dad came to the United States, to Seattle, for grad school with his young wife who was pregnant. And then the revolution happened and they're like, fuck, I guess we're just staying here in the United States. And so she was raised here. So what I didn't realize until I was older was that there was a moment when a flip was switched in 1977, and that before 1977, Iran was a very pretty progressive Western country. So all of this is going to, an interesting thing to do is to go on YouTube and watch Iranian TV commercials from before the revolution, because commercials in 1976, there's like Coca-Cola commercials with girls in short skirts and rock and roll music. And it's just such an alarming dissonance, because it's a reminder that things can change like that. You know what I mean? Like an entire culture can change completely overnight.
One of the best encapsulations of that moment is there's a graphic novel and subsequent animated film called Persepolis,
which I thought about a lot during this too.
It's really, really, really good. I read it in college and fucking loved it. It's literally about being like a young teenage girl in that exact moment.
Yeah, my partner,
really upsetting.
My partner teaches it in his English class at school. Actually, every year.
As well you should. Like, that's one of the most important, both like informing graphic novels as an art form, but then also like putting a big spotlight on part of the world that when I grew up in America was treated with nothing but vehement racism following
the
late 90s and early 2000s of like just horrible, awful things. And I remember when I first started watching Iranian cinema from like the 70s and 80s and 90s and stuff like that, and I rented one from the library, and I like got dirty looks from people for renting a fucking Abbas Kiarostami movie, like for wanting to watch Taste of Cherry. Like, human beings live in Iran. Like, it's a beautiful, beautiful country. It's just a very upsetting political situation. Currently, there are a lot of very, very important Iranian filmmakers that are in jail in Iran.
I'd like to see more movies from there.
Yeah, I highly recommend Close Up. You would fucking love Close Up. You should really check it out. I also feel like this movie like flirts with talking about Iranian politics without ever really like talking about them very much. It kind of feels like it's made for an American audience of being like, you know, some of this from the news, and that's enough. I don't know.
I wonder, do you know if she's American? Was she born in the United States?
She was born in England.
Oh, she's British.
And raised in America. I think she's born in England and then raised in America. Yeah.
So she is American, essentially.
Yeah. I watched a bunch of interviews with her and prep for this, and she's got big like dirtbag Brooklyn dude accent kind of and behavior.
Oh, cool. I think that's cool.
She reminds me of Harmony Korine in like interviews.
Oh, really? Well, I read this quote from her that I thought was actually really beautiful about filmmaking. And here it is. It's from an interview with Movie Maker. And this is about her relationship with filmmaking. People ask me, why did you make A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night? My answer is that I was lonely. That's why. But taking that a step further, the truth is that I want to make films to make friends and find real intimacy, a connection with others based on something that's meaningful to me. The people who make these films with you, your cast and crew, it's like they're on a vision quest with you. That is an incomparable experience. And then when the film is done and out there, the people who are attracted to your film, the audiences, festivals that embrace it, other filmmakers, artists, the critics who like what you do, those are my friends, and I don't expect to be friends with everyone.
Yeah.
I just really loved that.
That's beautiful. And you can kind of feel that, I don't know, self-conscious loneliness in this movie.
Yeah.
And
it is
almost
a movie about loneliness, essentially, at its core.
Almost all of her movies are about lonely women.
Yeah.
But like I think it is that self-conscious loneliness that both invites you in and kind of like, for me, keeps you away from connecting to this movie, because I feel like it's too self-conscious to say what it needs to say. I don't know. I think it's good. I think it's a good, interesting movie. But I feel like it doesn't live up to what it sets out to do. One of the things is that this movie is frequently billed, and the tagline is even the first Iranian vampire Western. And the movie opens with an opening title sequence in a very Western styled font, and there's even like Ennio Morricone kind of nods on the soundtrack every now and then. How do you see this in terms of the like canon of Westerns?
I don't know Westerns very well, but I can see that she's inspired by Sergio Leone and like the spaghetti Westerns. I can see that aesthetic in the DNA of this movie, but that's about the extent of it, I guess, for me. It's not doing a Western story in any way that I can tell.
I feel like the Western elements in this the most, and again, Western being the genre, not like, you know, Western American cultural influences, but the fact that it's also part of that.
Right.
Is both like the pacing, because a lot of Westerns of that era do have that laconic pace to them, and kind of wide open. And a lot of the characters are just archetypes. But I also do feel like the story of a small town, disconnected, middle of nowhere, and you only know the evil pimp, the older sex worker, the strung out father, the good young male who's gonna make a name for himself, and the like boy who's a witness, the young boy who's a witness to a lot of things, are all very Western archetype tropes. You could see that being like a George Stevens Western in like the 30s. You could see that being an Italian Western in the 60s. And then you just need Peter Fonda to walk into town and shake things up, or you just need Lee Van Cleef to walk into town and shake things up. And she's the one that comes into town and shakes things up. But
yeah,
again,
she's also a sort of anti-hero, kind of vigilante. So I guess that's in the mix as well.
So there is that, but I feel like, I don't know. Again, I feel like it's put in the marketing far more than it's put in the movie.
I agree with that, yes.
Yeah.
I think I can see the influence, but it doesn't seem like a major part of the film to me.
Yeah. It almost feels like they couldn't say the first Iranian vampire movie because there have been Iranian vampire movies, so they just tacked on Western to the end to be like, ha.
Yeah, I would be interested to hear what like Persian Americans think about this movie. I wonder to what degree they embrace it or not.
Yeah, it's such an interesting movie to me, I think, because of like what it says about that era of movies. The fact that in 2014 we were culturally all very excited for a movie like this, and movies like this were being, you know, produced by Spectravision and Vice, which kind of doesn't exist anymore.
I know, what a moment.
And now like she like has been working her tail off to make another movie. It came out from a much smaller distributor. It didn't get a lot of attention. I don't even think it played in theaters for very long before it just went straight to VOD.
Well, now I feel like I want to watch more by her, because just because they didn't get seen doesn't mean they're not absolutely incredible. So
No. I'm not saying that in any way, shape, or
Yeah.
form. I'm just saying it's very interesting how much the landscape has changed. You would assume, having made this movie, that she would have made like 3 A24 movies since then.
Yeah.
And that's not been the case. And I want to know why. I want to know what about the way we make movies and what people think we want to see has changed.
Yeah.
And why, like, this movie was such a big touchstone when it came out, and it hasn't like left tendrils the way that other movies like this have. Like, the cast is all still working and have appeared in other things, but not like huge other roles. Marshall Manesh is the biggest name actor in this movie, and he was in like The Big Lebowski and How I Met Your Mother.
Right.
And Anna Lily Amirpour, you would also assume that like she would like blow up to like bigger stuff after this, and she got one bigger movie after with Annapurna and Neon, and a very big name cast. And since then, it hasn't been much at all. And so I'm glad that people like Guillermo del Toro are giving her projects, and giving her opportunity to make new interesting things. And I like cannot wait to watch her episode of that. I don't know. I just find it interesting that there hasn't been anything like this since then, and I think that's a problem.
Well, yeah. I mean, I think we're in a very different cultural moment now. I think the 2020s are a more conservative decade in terms of film. I think people are making safer bets in terms of what gets funded and produced. Things tend to need to be more commercial, faster, funnier. Like that's kind of the business right now, and what people are buying and producing in my mind. Yeah, I guess this is a movie on which Bloodhaus is a house divided, which is fine.
I'm so sorry.
It's okay. Let's move on to our favorite game, Have They Seen It? The game where we speculate wildly whether notable figures have seen this movie. You mentioned Jim Jarmusch earlier, which made me think of another great vampire movie, Only Lovers Left Alive. Do you think that Tilda Swinton saw A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night?
I think so. I think Tilda Swinton is very well watched. I think Tilda Swinton has a room in her house, like David Bowie in the Man Who Fell to Earth, that's just like TVs on the wall, where she just sits there sprawled out like fucking Gozer the Destroyer, watching 17 things at the same time.
Yeah.
I think Tilda Swinton I think she definitely saw this at a festival. I think she definitely really, really, really liked it.
It feels like a movie she would like. Yeah.
Yeah. Well, she also spent so much time working with not just Jim Jarmusch, but Derek Jarman before she was doing a lot of that stuff. And like, I feel like that's along a similar vein. A very unique, singular art house voicing. So yeah, I think she's definitely seen this. And also, Tilda seems like she has both a sense of humor about herself, but also like a taste for vampire movies to a degree. She's been in enough of them.
Yeah.
So as I was saying earlier, the cast of this has gone on to have like other roles and other projects. A little bit outside of this, Sheila Vand, who is the girl, went on to be in Argo, which won Best Picture for better or worse, which is like lovely and great. And she's been in a few other things since then. She was in The Rental and she was in Triple Frontier. But she was also in a movie just like a year or two after this came out that I feel like most people have forgotten, probably for the best. But she was in the Margot Robbie, Billy Bob Thornton Afghanistan comedy Whiskey Tango Foxtrot starring Tina Fey.
God, I forgot entirely about this movie, which I never saw.
Most everyone did. The title is a joke for what the fuck. Do you think Tina Fey has seen A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night?
No. And I really like Tina Fey. I think 30 Rock is probably one of the best comedies of all time.
Strongly
no
agree.
ill feelings towards her whatsoever. But it feels like there is one of her less desirable traits is like a streak in anti-intellectualism. You know, for someone who's so smart and so funny, like a lot of the jokes that she wrote for Liz Lemon, I think are true about her, about how she doesn't like to watch slow movies. And you know what I mean? Just like I think there's a streak to her.
I mean, I frequently think about the joke of her being like, yeah, when I was in line at Academy Film Archives, the Truffaut retrospective, and it cuts to her at a Regal getting a ticket for Hot Tub Time Machine.
Yeah, exactly. I think that's who she is. So I don't think that she's seen this. And I don't think that she would like it either.
I don't think she's seen it. I don't think she would like it. I also don't think she likes horror movies.
No way.
No way.
I don't think so.
Did you see the interview with her that was going around recently? She was on like Bo and Yang's podcast. And everyone was like, oh, that's what Tina Fey is like in real life. Because she was like doing the like white girl fag hag voice of like, I'm with gay people, I'm gonna put on my like I'm hanging out with gay people voice, and everyone was like, what are you doing?
Stop.
I mean, it explains why she wrote Titus like that on Kimmy Schmidt, but like girl. It's like a white girl like using Kiki all the time, and you're like, honey,
not good,
please calm down.
You mentioned earlier Sergio Leone, or maybe I did, which made me think of somebody who has a vaguely similar sounding name. Natasha Lyonne.
Sure.
Do you think Natasha Lyonne has seen A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night?
I think she's absolutely seen this movie.
Yeah.
I think she's a fan of it. I would love, because Natasha Lyonne has a production company. I would love to see her and Anna Lily Amirpour do something together. I would love to see Anna Lily Amirpour direct an episode of Poker Face for the next season. I would love, like,
first of all, Poker Face is such a good show. Second of all,
Poker Face rules.
We know that Natasha Lyonne likes horror movies. She's made a couple, right?
Yeah.
So, like, I feel like that's a match made in heaven for me.
I feel like they would make something fucking incredible together, and I want to see it happen.
Let's make it happen somehow.
Speaking of black and white horror movies, black and white vampire movies specifically, and you speaking of Natasha Lyonne, which makes me think of New Yorkers with thick accents. I think the last black and white vampire movie that we talked about on this show was The Addiction. With Lily Taylor, the Christopher Walken, the Abel Ferrara movie. Do you think Abel Ferrara has seen A Girl Walks Home Alone at Night?
Very interesting question.
Again, also director of Miss 45.
Yeah, which I thought of a lot during this movie too.
Mm-hmm.
My gut immediately said no, but I don't know why. What do you think?
I feel like there's a world in which he doesn't watch new movies.
Yeah.
I feel like that's possible. But I can absolutely tell you that she's a big fan of his, probably.
Oh, for sure. Yeah. You can see Miss 45 all over this.
Yeah. Well, and The Addiction and a lot of his other movies.
Yeah.
I saw so there was a clip going around recently of his commentary track for King of New York, his movie with Christopher Walken and Lawrence Fishburne from the 90s, and it just the like opening lines of his commentary track are, yeah, I'm Abel Ferrara, they paid me $5,000 to do this, they paid me $5,000 cash, and you're like, okay.
That's funny.
He rules. Every time there's any like woman on screen, he's always like, "Ooh, look at her! Ooh, mommy!" You're like, you directed her, sir. You were on set. What are you doing?
I think it's pretty charming, to be honest. Yeah.
He rocks so much.
Yeah, he's the best.
He would love this movie.
He would love it if he's seen it, but I don't know if he has. Thank you so much for listening to this episode of Bloodhaus. Please rate it 5 stars wherever you listen to podcasts. You can email us at bloodhousepod@gmail.com. You can follow us on Twitter or Instagram. Drusilla, where are you lurking?
If you strongly disagree with my opinions on this movie, you can go send me hate mail on Letterboxd. If you look for Drusilla Adeline or Sister Hyde, leave me some comments about why I'm wrong. I don't know, whatever. And then you can also find me on Instagram at Hyde Sister, and you can go find all of my art at sisterhydedesign.com. There are new posters up there of new work I did. Go look at them. They're so cool. And you can also buy prints. Josh, what about you? How can people stalk you at night?
I am at Joshua Conkel on Blue Sky, Instagram, and Letterboxd. So next week we are watching our first movie by this filmmaker, which is kind of strange, to be honest. What is it?
I mean, like 2 years in, and we're finally tackling one of the greats of Italian cinema. We've done Bava. We've done Argento. It is time that we open up the gates to Lucio Fulci and delve into the beyond.
Can't wait to talk about that greasy, gloopy, grody movie.
See you next
Bye.
week.